NFL Week 6 Power Rankings. The season is taking shape. We have all of the lines from BovadaSportsbook.com, as we always do. Let's dig into my Get It Together screen. These teams are all 2-3. These are teams that I thought were going to be a lot better getting into the NFL season. The Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-3. Hey, look, last week they finally started to get it together with their offensive line, playing a tough Denver Broncos defensive front. They were able to actually run the ball. Now, they've been committing to the run all season long, but they haven't been able to really block for it. Finally, they got it going. Are they moving in the right direction? I don't know. Losing Juju Smith-Schuster for 4 months does not help anything. Having Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, that's fine. When James Washington is back and healthy, that is still a great trio of wide receivers. Maybe they will start to lean on their talented young tight end, Pat Freiermuth, just a little bit more. They also have Eric Ebron there. But this is all about Najee Harris. This is all about Ben Roethlisberger. Can he hit open receivers? He's been a little bit more inaccurate than usual. And their line to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada, is plus 10,000. If you're looking for a long shot futures bet, I think that's the one. Remember, sportsbooks generally don't have good odds to win the Super Bowl based on team defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers still have great special teams, great defense. They still have a quarterback that has won a couple of Super Bowls, all right? So I think they'll be okay, but they just have to keep that offensive line moving. They passed a big test, in my opinion, this weekend against the Denver Broncos. The Seattle Seahawks, I know Russell Wilson's banged up, 2-3, plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl. Just a little bit disappointing to me. I would have thought the Seahawks would have been better, but they've had injuries at key positions, so there's a little bit more of an excuse. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, yes, I know, they're still the two-time reigning AFC champion. But look, you're not going to make my top 10 being under 500. Did anybody out there think the Chiefs would be under 500 in the first 5 games of the season? There'd probably like 3 or 4 people out there saying, yeah, I did. But this is the Kansas City Chiefs, everybody. They're going to be back. Andy Reid's a smart coach. I do think once Josh Gordon gets integrated into the offense, they're going to be better and better. Once again, 2-3. They've actually lost pretty much to all the good teams except for Cleveland. They beat Cleveland week 1, and then they've just kept losing games. They've lost to the Chargers. They lost to this last week to the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens. So every good team that they've played outside of Cleveland, they've lost to, which is interesting. Bovada still has them at plus 750 to win the Super Bowl. That makes them, I believe, still the second best odds. Actually, I think it's the third best. I think they've finally fallen behind Buffalo to win the Super Bowl, but we'll learn more about that as we move on. Next screen is the No Soup for You screen. These are all winning teams, but they did not make my top 10 this week, and I didn't even include all the 3-2 teams. The Chicago Bears fans are saying, hey, where's our logo? You know what? I just don't believe in Matt Nagy. That's why the Bears aren't on here. So no soup for them either. But I'm going to start with the Carolina Panthers. I like the Carolina Panthers, but they really disappointed me losing to Philadelphia last week. I expected this defense to be able to shut down Jalen Hurts, and it just didn't happen. So Carolina Panthers falling off the list, plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl. Nothing to write home about, right, everybody? The next one, Denver Broncos falling to 3-2. They're on a 2-game losing streak, but they lost to Pittsburgh, who finally got their offensive line going. I don't mind that. They lose on the road to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a tough place to play. They also lost to the Baltimore Ravens, but Teddy Bridgewater was out of that game. So really, in terms of games where Teddy Bridgewater played a full game, they've only lost 1. I think the Denver Broncos are good. It's always hard to play in Mile High Stadium. I think they could be back on the list, but 2-game losing streak, they just fall outside the top 10. Sorry, that's how the cookie crumbles. Denver is plus 5,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada, and I think that's about right. The Las Vegas Raiders, Gruden resigning last night. How about that? That's not really where you want to be. I don't think the Raiders, are going to survive that turmoil. We'll see how they go. We'll see. I know the offensive play caller, they're still going to commit to the run. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think that Maylock, I think he's going to end up being canned after the season too. He was already in some hot water, but who knows? Maybe they keep Maylock, and maybe they Maylock keep Maylock. They keep Mayock in there at the general manager position. And, and I don't know, draft another 7 cornerbacks, I guess, because that's what he does. Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals, plus 15,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada. The Cincinnati Bengals, their defense is for real. Actually, they really impressed me in their loss, and they had it on their kicker's foot twice to win that game and go up to 4-1 this week. I was ready to put them in, but they just didn't get it done. The Cincinnati Bengals, they'll be around all season, though. The defense is the major difference, and, of course, their commitment to Mixon and running the ball. I think they're going to be all right. And then New Orleans Saints, I was going to put them on the list depending on what happened to Baltimore last night. But Baltimore came back and won that game, so the New Orleans Saints end up edging out of the top 10. They're at plus 4,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada. And, they're all right. They're an all right team. Jameis Winston's going to be a little bit up and down. Honestly, if they'd just taken care of business against the New York Giants, they would have been on this list. Now, let's get to my top 10. We'll start with the number 10 team, and the Tennessee Titans. They're getting better. They've lost they lost that game to the Jets, and that to me was inexcusable. That was ridiculous. But to be fair, they also didn't have anything in the receiving game. They didn't have Julio Jones. They didn't have A.J. Brown. Now, if the Tennessee Titans just ran the ball 50 times with Derrick Henry, 50 is an exaggeration, I know. If they ran it just nonstop with Derrick Henry, they would have won that game against the Jets. They didn't do that. They got impatient. They tried to press a little bit too much in the passing game with limited. You got to win with what you have. Arthur Smith would have won that game. I'm just going to throw that out there if he was the offensive play caller for the Tennessee Titans. But there you go. Tennessee Titans 3-2 plus 4,000 win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada. First appearance on this list. Number 9. The Cleveland Browns actually move up a spot in their loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm never going to begrudge anybody for losing to the Chargers. They're a very good team. The Cleveland Browns put up a lot of points. Their defense, look, I'd say their defense needs to get better. And yeah, you don't want to give up, 47 points or whatever. But the Los Angeles Chargers are a really good team, and the Chargers are improving weekly. I'm not going to begrudge Cleveland too much. Their only two losses are to the Kansas City Chiefs and to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they've handled some other pretty good teams. And we're going to see what happens because the AFC North is tough, so these things are going to shake out. But Cleveland, I do think, is a legit Super Bowl threat just because of how they run the ball. They're very good. Cleveland Browns 3-2, according to Bovada, plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl. Those are pretty nice odds, in my opinion. Let's see, number 8 on my list, just coming off their Monday Night Football victory, the Baltimore Ravens at 4-1. The Baltimore Ravens, I've said for years that my big thing about them is, hey, if they're losing by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, can Lamar Jackson, can he pass the ball? Can he move the ball downfield and bring this team back for a victory? We've seen this a couple of times now this season. You have to adjust. I am not going to be a prisoner to my own bias and my own history. Lamar Jackson's putting it on film. Lamar Jackson is proving that he is improving as a quarterback. Baltimore Ravens 4-1 plus 1,400. And if Lamar Jackson can consistently pass the ball the way he's been passing, they're going to vault up this list. I can't wait to see the Ravens versus the Browns, the Ravens versus the Steelers, all the Ravens versus the Bengals. Even this AFC North is really good top to bottom. They're like the NFC West. There's not really a really bad team. There's not a bad team in either of those divisions. Wouldn't shock me if that entire division is 500 or better this year, and that would be 9-8. By the way, it would be a winning record in this 17-game season. So once again, Baltimore Ravens plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl. Number 7 on my list, the Green Bay Packers, unmoved from last week, even though their victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Honestly, I could have moved them down a spot, and maybe I should have moved them down the spot behind Baltimore Ravens. Matt Crosby would have needed 3 kicks to win that game. But hey, a win is a win. When we look back on the season and we're looking at playoff seeding and who's going to get home field advantage and who isn't, they're not going to care about Matt Crosby's missed field goals in Week 5, right? They're going to care about the winning record. The Green Bay Packers are 4-1. Outside of that really ugly loss to New Orleans to start the year, Green Bay's been dialed in, as they have been for the last 3 years now. So good for Green Bay. They are plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada. Number 6 on my list is Los Angeles Chargers. I don't like that they gave up so many points to the Cleveland Browns, but again, the Browns are a good team. They're on the top 10. The Los Angeles Chargers 4-1. Their only loss to the Dallas Cowboys so far this season. Justin Herbert's getting better and better. His hype is improving. It's getting better and better as well, but I'm a believer in Justin Herbert. I'm a believer in this offense. This offense is continuing to get better. Eckler is awesome. I'm glad they're finally really just kind of running some offense through him, as they should have been. If this team stays healthy, really, they're tough to beat. They may be the best team in the AFC West. I still think the Kansas City Chiefs will get it together and be better. But today, on a field, I'm saying 8 times out of 10, the LA Chargers beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if that's how it's going to be towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, but that's how it stands today. LA Chargers really like what they're doing. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys, 4-1, plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada. Look, man, they're top to bottom. They're a pretty good team. Defensively, I think they're improving. I actually liked the move to waive Jalen Smith and get out from under some of that, that contract. The Cowboys have been top heavy. I worry about their depth because of how much money is tied up into stars, especially in this year where we're at a lower salary cap. But as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be tough to beat. We knew this offense was going to be very good with Dak Prescott. The defense is the story, just like, with a couple of these other teams here. The defense is the story. They've improved defensively, and that's why that you see them moving up the list. They are the best team for sure in the NFC. And their only loss so far is to Week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not a bad loss, everybody. Dallas is taking care of who they should be taking care of, and they were very competitive against a fully stocked Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Number 4 on my list, speaking of those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, look, Tampa Bay, they've righted the ship. They looked like Tampa Bay last week against the Miami Dolphins. They lost to the LA Chargers a couple weeks ago. They're in that sloppy kind of rain game, that emotional game against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football in Week 4. They didn't look great, but they've rebounded. They looked dominant once again at number 4. Their only loss so far is to the LA Rams. Bovada has them as the odds-on Super Bowl favorites. They're at plus 550 once again, according to Bovada. Now, number 3 on my list is the LA Rams. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're a good team. They beat Tampa Bay. That's why they're number 3. I'm not so sure if Tampa Bay is fully healthy, that and they play on a neutral field, that Tampa Bay wouldn't win the rematch, but the LA Rams did win that game convincingly when they played Tampa Bay, so they are locked in at number 3. Their only loss at this point is to the Arizona Cardinals. By the way, a pretty convincing win for the Arizona Cardinals in their own right. LA Rams, they're at plus 800 to win the Super Bowl, and we'll see those odds continue to improve. Number 2 on my list, is it going to be the Bills? Is it going to be the Cardinals? It is going to be the Cardinals, unchanged from last week. I have the Arizona Cardinals at 5-0. They got a pretty close victory against the San Francisco 49ers, who were starting Trey Lance. But the Cardinals defense, look, 17-10, that's not what you're used to seeing from Arizona, but a couple things. The NFC West just always plays each other hard right now. I mean, it's no easy games. The Seahawks versus the Rams is a battle. Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers is going to be a battle. Arizona versus, whoever, the Rams or whoever. Actually, it wasn't too much of a battle against the Rams, but you know what I'm saying. The AFC West is just dialed in against each other. Even with Trey Lance in the first game, it's just always going to be a close matchup. And the Cardinals defense holding San Francisco, even with kind of a rookie quarterback there, to 10 points, I think that's a really good turnout. So the Arizona Cardinals defense is good. It's better. The Arizona Cardinals offense is really, really, really good. They're at plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to Bovada, and that means my number 1 team, same as last week, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills' only loss this season is to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1, a game where Josh Allen couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a pass. He was just rusty and off. Since then, he has been dialed in. I don't know that anybody can beat the Buffalo Bills on a neutral field today. Now, will that be the case in December, January, February? I don't know. But that win against the Buffalo Bills, that's a statement win. If I said this earlier in the week in a reaction video to that Chiefs and Bills game, if you don't think that this game or that game meant a little bit more, look how much Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen were trying to run, and they were diving forward to get extra yards. They know how big that game was, or they knew how big that game was for playoff implications, for playoff seeding, for home field advantage in the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills put 2 games of space plus the head-to-head tiebreaker, so effectively 3 games over the Kansas City Chiefs. That's big. That is big. Now, teams like, say, the LA Chargers, I think they could give the Buffalo Bills some trouble. I do, because they can score with Buffalo, and their defense is better than you think it is, I should say. Now, the Buffalo Bills defense, I've been saying this. Arizona Cardinals defense has improved. I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying it for months at this point. The Buffalo Bills defense has gotten so good in the offseason. They're back to where they were a few years ago, back when the defense was carrying the offense. Well, now neither of these position groups have to carry one another. The Buffalo Bills are the absolute best team in the NFL. It could be a Bills-Cardinals Super Bowl. I still think, I'm sticking with my preseason prediction, it's going to be Bills versus Buccaneers, and that is, both of those teams give matchup problems to the other one. That would be a fun Super Bowl to watch, but let's not put the cart before the horse. We have Buffalo Bills Week 6, the number 1 team in the NFL. What do you think, everybody out there? Did I miss anybody? Who should I give more respect to? Who should I take out of the top 10? Comment below. I'd love to hear it. We'll catch you again with Power Rankings next week.